Hello friends, welcome to today's session. So today we will be discussing about organization behavior. So hi, this is Bharat Malik. I am JRF qualified. Today I will be taking session on organization behavior. So first chapter it is about the introduction about organization behavior. So major eminent personalities they have given their theories on organization behavior and human behavior aspect. Let's start discussing. So what do you mean by human behavior? So human behavior is the number of ways on which one conducts oneself, especially towards others, and it's a response observed directly or indirectly. Here, a famous personality called Levitt. According to Levitt, he classified human behavior into three types: cost behavior, motivated behavior, and goal oriented behavior. What do you mean by cost behavior? Like this has A cause B. So if you understand this event happened, that's why there is an antecedent event occurred. Then motivated behavior. So if you have something motivating you, then you according to that you actually change your behavior. Then goal oriented behavior, you set up some kind of target and then you try to modify your behavior to achieve that target. So according to Levitt's classification of human behavior, there is cost behavior, motivated behavior, goal oriented behavior. Then Dan's assumption about nature of people. Dan Ariely is a leading behavioral economist. He, according to him, he characterized people into four groups: a whole person, individual difference, value of the person, cost behavior. So you need to remember here the person named Dan Ariely. And then models of human behavior here. There are four prominent models you can see. One is a psychoanalytic model. It was given by Sigmund Freud. So this is also known as your Freudian approach. We will be studying this in later. This basically speaks about the unconscious human behavior, like our ego, superego, id, those kind of aspects, and this will be covered in the later part of our discussion. Then behavioristic model was given by Pavlov and Watson. It is basically the stimulus known as stimulus and response uh, uh, theory. Then cognitive model was given by Edward Tolman. You should remember his name. And this is actually a classical conditioning or stimulus organic response. Then existential model means here people make their own identity, existence, meaning, and worthy. These are the models of human behavior. Organization behavior. So basically, what is the organization behavior? It is a comprehensive field of study in which individual, group, or organizational structure is studied in relation to organizational growth and organizational culture. It is an integration of various studies in behavioral science like psychology, that is your individual behavior, social psychology, group behavior, sociology, individual and group behavior in a social environment or culture, political science, it is about individual and group behavior in a political environment. Anthropology, it is human behavior in various cultures and environment. Then management function. When we call about management function, there is a very simple definition given by Mary Parker Follett. He defined management as the art of getting things done by others. This is very simple definition, and she is the first female who gave management theory. You should remember the name Mary Parker Follett. He defined management as the art of getting things done by others. The function of management and distinctively describes the manager's role. The commonly cited functions of management are basically, here we will see Henry Fayol's school of thought, then Luther Gulick, Warren Hayden and Joseph Massey, Kuntz and Donnell, Newman and Summer, Dale and Peter Drucker. These are the few management gurus and their contribution to the management function. When we understand Fayol's management, he gave management is a planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating and controlling. These 5 functions are actually known as management. Then Luther Gulick, he gave first core. First core is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting and budgeting. These are the 7 functions of management. Then here Han and Joseph Massey, they gave management as a decision making, organizing, staffing, planning, controlling, communicating and directing. Then according to Kuntz, management is planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. And then Newman and Summer, they gave very simple definition of management, that is planning, organizing, leading and controlling. And then Dale Yoder, he gave management as a planning, organizing, leading, innovation and representation. According to Peter Drucker is also known as the father of management. Principal tool is man and information. According to Peter Drucker, there should be people and information. The primary functions are decision making, then secondary functions. In decision making, you just define a problem, analyze it, then develop alternatives, select best alternatives, action on decision. Then second is a secondary functions. Secondary functions is here set objectives, organize, motivate and communicate, evaluate performance, develop people. Then effective management by Luthans. Luthans propose that managers should engage in 4 managerial activity. One is your communication, human resource management, networking, traditional management. So in traditional management, it is about planning, decision making and controlling the resources. And in communication, exchange routine information, process paperwork. Human resource management, it is about motivating, disciplining, managing conflict, staffing and training. Networking is socializing, politicking, interacting with outsiders. And there is another famous personality here, Henry Mintzberg. So he gave the concept of managerial roles. According to him, uh, managerial functions are basically classified into three groups: interpersonal roles, decision making roles, informational roles. Interpersonal roles are basically for people who is a figurehead, leader, or liaison. So liaison here means those person who actually coordinate between different departments. And then decision making roles. Decision making, who makes decision in organization? Basically the entrepreneur, disturbance handler, resource allocator, negotiator. Then informational roles, monitor, disseminators, spokesperson. These are the persons who are responsible in the informational role area. Then your role efficacy here is the potential effectiveness of an individual occupying a particular position in an organization. Aspects of role efficacy is role making, role centering, and role linking. Role making is attitude towards the role. Role centering is increasing power of the role. Role linking is relationship with other role. And then Parkinson law, it is also known as law of multiplication of subordinates or law of multiplication of work. Here, number of employees increase, better subordinate than rival, increase in expenditure, unnecessary creation of task. So, according to Northcote Parkinson, he deduced that over time, every executive develops a feeling that he is overloaded with work. This results in three things: resignation, work sharing, and post creation. If a person feels very bored or very overloaded, he will resign the job. Then else he may share the workload, or he may ask the management to create another position so that his workload gets reduced. And the managerial skills, when an employee just join the organization, uh, there are three skills needed for him to get success. One is a technical skill, human skills, and conceptual skills. When you enter any organization, your technical skill matter much than your conceptual skills. At lower level of pyramid, your technical skill is having higher importance, and middle level equal weightage to conceptual, human skills, and your technical skills. Here, if you will compare the ratio, during the middle level, your human skills are very important. Then in top level, your conceptual skills will be more important. It will be given more weightage to other skills like your technical skills. When you are at the top level, your technical skills is required very less, because you will be actually making laws, policies, and you will be reorganizing the departments. So, at that point, conceptual skills will be more important. Then, according to Kanungo and Mishra, managerial competencies. So basically, here skills. What do you mean by skills? ability that is acquired or learned for routine tasks and stable environment. Competency is your mental capability, non-routine task, volatile environment. Basically, your competency is can be classified into effective competency, intellectual competency, action-oriented competency. Effective competency is controlling emotions, problem orientations, delay of gratification, proactive towards life challenges. Intellectual competencies, problem solving, self-reflective. Action oriented competencies, task related actions, people related orientations. These are your action oriented competencies. Then what is plan? We basically do planning, and management's role is basic role is to plan. So basically it is a commitment to a particular course of action for achieving a specific results. There are a number of plans to achieve the objectives. So basically in planning you do budget planning, project planning, and goals, objectives, policies, strategies. Everywhere your plan is necessary. In effective planning process, first how you should do is awareness about the opportunity. First you should know the opportunities, then you should set the objectives or goals, then you should consider planning premises, then identifying the alternatives, then comparing alternative with respect to different goals, then choosing an alternative, then formulating supporting plans and quantifying the plans by budgets. Then last slide here is management control process. Here you just see this as a machine. Machine has some input and some processing, then it has some output. So in management control process, it is first setting standards, then design feedback system, then compare actual with standards, then identify deviations and measure their significance, take actions to ensure efficiency and effectiveness. These are the 5 steps involved in the management control process. There are different types of control. You can see feed forward control, concurrent control, and feedback control. So when you set some kind of standards and you find out there is some kind of actual output, so if you find there is some kind of gap, then what you need to do? You need to manipulate the controls. In feed forward control, what you need to do? You will prevent the problem from initial. While setting the standards, you try to check everything is correct or not. This is also known as preliminary control or pre-control or preventive control. It actually regulates your input. Then your concurrent control. During the process you identified, process of transformation, you identified there is some kind of error. What you will do then? You will try to regulate or control at that point. So that is your concurrent control. Basically regulating the ongoing process. Here during the process you will have some kind of checkpoints. like continue progress, take corrective action, stop work, and then it is also known as screening yes no control. Then feedback control regulates the output. When your process is set, you just see output and try to regulate it, like regulate the output, determine the effective or planning efforts, identify deviations and further corrective actions. So this is for today's session. So thank you for watching. We will tomorrow continue with next topic.